There is a moment no one prepares you for. You work for something for years, you imagine it during quiet nights. You sacrifice comfort, time, energy. You tell yourself that once you get there, once you achieve it, once you finally hold it in your hands, everything will feel different, lighter, complete, and then it happens. You get the job, the relationship, the recognition, the money, the freedom, the goal you built your identity around. And instead of the explosion of fulfillment you expected, there is a strange silence. A pause, a hollow space where excitement was supposed to live. You smile, you celebrate, but underneath the celebration is something unsettling. Emptiness. The emptiness of finally getting what you wanted is not ingratitude. It is not failure. It is not proof that you chose the wrong goal. It is a psychological phenomenon that reveals something deeper about how desire works. Human beings are wired to pursue dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with motivation and reward, spikes not when you receive the reward, but when you anticipate it. The chase is chemically stimulating. The progress is energizing. The uncertainty fuels focus. Your brain becomes engaged in the process of reaching. But once the goal is achieved, the anticipatory cycle collapses, the spike drops, the system stabilizes. And without the forward pull of striving, you feel still, sometimes too still. For years, your identity may have been organized around the pursuit. I am the person building toward this. I am the person working for this. The goal becomes more than an outcome. It becomes structure, routine, meaning, direction. When you finally achieve it, that structure dissolves. You are left not only with the reward, but with the absence of the chase. The mind that was once occupied by strategy and hope now faces open space, and open space can feel uncomfortable. There is also the psychological mechanism known as hedonic adaptation. Humans adapt quickly to new circumstances. What once felt extraordinary becomes baseline. The job that once seemed like a dream becomes routine. The partner you once idealized becomes familiar. The financial milestone that once symbolized freedom becomes normal. The nervous system recalibrates. Satisfaction fades into neutrality. This is not a flaw in you. It is a survival feature. If humans remained euphoric after every gain, motivation would stagnate. Adaptation allows continued striving. But it also creates the illusion that something is missing when the emotional high fades. Another layer of this emptiness is expectation. When you attach your happiness to a future event, you project enormous emotional weight onto it. You tell yourself that once you reach it, certain insecurities will vanish. Certain fears will quiet, certain doubts will disappear. But external achievements rarely resolve internal narratives. If you believed you were not enough before, you may still feel not enough after. If you believed you were unworthy before, the new title or relationship may not silence that belief. The goal did not fail. It simply could not fix what was never its responsibility to fix. There is also grief hidden inside achievement. While pursuing something, you imagine multiple versions of how it might feel. When it finally happens, only one version becomes reality. All other imagined possibilities dissolve. There is a subtle mourning for the fantasy. Reality is concrete. It lacks the limitless potential of imagination. And potential often feels more intoxicating than completion. The chase allows infinite projection. The result is finite. The emptiness can also stem from misaligned motivation. Sometimes you want something not because it resonates deeply, but because it promises validation. You chase status, approval, admiration, or security. When you finally get it, you realize the validation is temporary. External applause fades, attention shifts. And you are left with yourself again. If the pursuit was fueled by proving rather than purpose, the achievement may feel hollow. Another reason for this emptiness is that striving protects you from confronting deeper questions. When you are busy building towards something, you do not have time to ask who you are without it. Ambition becomes distraction. Achievement becomes insulation against existential uncertainty. Once the goal is reached, the distraction disappears. The silence returns, and with it, larger questions emerge. What now? Who am I beyond this? Was this really what I wanted, or just what I thought I should want? Those questions can feel destabilizing. Emptiness is often the space where identity renegotiation begins. There is also a biological crash after prolonged stress. Pursuing a major goal usually involves pressure, deadlines, risk, emotional investment. Your nervous system operates in heightened activation for extended periods. When the goal is achieved, the body shifts out of stress mode. This shift can feel like fatigue, low mood, or emotional flatness. It is not depression in the clinical sense, it is recalibration. The body moving from intensity to neutrality. But neutrality feels dull compared to adrenaline. Another factor is that achievement removes the fantasy of future rescue. When you are chasing something, you can tell yourself that your current dissatisfaction is temporary. You can attribute discomfort to the gap between where you are and where you are going. Once you arrive, that narrative dissolves. If dissatisfaction remains, you cannot blame circumstance anymore. You must confront internal dynamics. That confrontation can feel like emptiness. It is not that the goal was meaningless. It is that it was incomplete as a source of identity. Society reinforces this cycle. You are taught that milestones equal happiness, graduate, get the job, get the partner, buy the house, reach the income level. The narrative rarely includes what happens after. There is no script for post-achievement emptiness. So when it appears, you assume something is wrong. You may even feel guilty for not feeling grateful enough. But gratitude and emptiness can coexist. You can appreciate what you have and still feel unsettled. The deeper truth is that goals provide direction, not fulfillment. Fulfillment is relational, experiential, internal. It emerges from alignment between values and action, not from outcomes alone. When you finally get what you wanted and feel empty, it may signal that the pursuit was narrower than your true complexity. You are larger than the goal. Your identity cannot be contained by a single achievement. Sometimes emptiness is an invitation to expand beyond performance, to examine what actually brings vitality rather than validation, to explore parts of yourself that were neglected during the chase. It may prompt you to reconnect with relationships, creativity, rest, or meaning beyond metrics. Emptiness is uncomfortable because it lacks narrative. It does not give clear instructions. It simply sits there, asking you to notice it rather than escape it. Many people respond by immediately setting a new goal. They chase again, they fill the silence with another ambition. This can work temporarily, but if the underlying pattern remains unexamined, the cycle repeats: high, achievement, adaptation, emptiness, repeat. Breaking the cycle requires redefining desire. Instead of asking what you want to achieve, you ask how you want to live. Instead of asking what milestone will complete you, you ask what daily experiences feel meaningful. Instead of anchoring identity in outcomes, you anchor it in values. When desire becomes process-oriented rather than outcome-dependent, emptiness decreases. Because the reward is embedded in the present, not postponed into the future. The emptiness of finally getting what you wanted is not a failure of ambition. It is a revelation about the limits of external fulfillment. It shows you that achievement can enhance life but cannot define it. It teaches you that anticipation is not the same as satisfaction. It exposes the difference between being driven and being aligned. If you are feeling this emptiness, you are not ungrateful, you are evolving. The version of you who needed that goal to survive has completed its task. Now you must ask what the next version requires. Not from fear, not from proving, but from curiosity. Sometimes the most profound growth begins not in pursuit, but in the quiet aftermath of arrival. In the space where applause fades and silence returns. In that silence, you meet yourself without the noise of striving. And that meeting, though uncomfortable, may be the beginning of something deeper than achievement ever was.